Good morning, girls. Today we are going to discuss the concept of a saving function. In previous class already you know the consumption function. What is the meaning of consumption function? Functional relationship between the consumption and income. There is a positive relationship between the consumption and income. When the income increases, consumption will be increased, but not as much as income increased. Is it? There is a consumption function. Now come to the saving function. Like consumption function, saving is to that part of income which is not spent on current consumption. Is it? After meeting our consumption expenditure, what is the money remains, we are going to save. So consumption and savings both are part of income. So Y is equal to consumption and savings. So already you know the relationship between the income and consumption in Keynesian consumption function. So the relationship between saving and income is called as saving function. Simply, saving function or propensity to saving relates the level of savings to the level of income. Means level of savings to the level of income. How much savings we are going to save, or how much money we are going to save from present income, and how your savings will increase when income will be increased. Saving denoted by letter S, function small f, and income denoted by y. S is equal to f of y. So symbolically we can write the saving function as S is equal to f of y. Here two notable here is two notable features of saving function. They are, first one is saving can be negative at zero or low level of income. Means when your incomes are zero, means when you are not earning, your savings can be negative, means minus. You are unable to save because to meet your present consumption you borrow from some persons or some ways, and when your income is low, at that time also your savings can be negative because with the limited income you can't save. Even you may not unable to meet your present consumption from that low level of income. Just observe your surroundings, your neighbors in society who are earning low incomes. They are unable to meet their present consumption, then their savings can be negative. Means if the savings are zero, there is no borrowings. Their income equal to consumption. But when your income is zero, when you are not earning, you borrow some money from others to meet your present consumption. Means there is no savings and there are borrowings. So minus S, negative savings. And at zero level of income as well as at low level of income. Is it clear? చాలా పూర్ ఉన్నారు. సో ఏం చేస్తామో మనకు కనీస అవసరాలు తీర్చుకోవడానికి కూడా అత్యవసర పరిస్థితులకి మనం వేరే ఇతరుల దగ్గర నుంచి డబ్బులు తీసుకోవాల్సి ఉంటుంది. కాబట్టి సేవింగ్స్ కెన్ బి నెగిటివ్ ఎట్ జీరో ఆర్ లో లెవెల్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్కమ్. సెకండ్ పాయింట్, as income increases, savings also increases. Saving is residual income of households that is left after consumption. Is it clear? What is a saving? What is the money left after consumption expenditure? That's why symbolically we can write like S, savings is equal to Y minus consumption. C, income minus consumption. That remaining part is savings from our income. This saving function based on fundamental psychological law. Is it clear? Yes. Based on fundamental psychological law. Keynesian consumption also. It is also based on the fundamental psychological law. Every human being think like this and behave like this. When their income increases, then only their savings will be increased. Before or at the level of low incomes, at zero level of incomes, they are unable to save. But when people's incomes increase, the consumption expenditure will decline. Of course, the percentage of consumption increased, but amount and the percentage of savings and amount will be increased. So, because of that, it is based on the fundamental psychological law. Here, when the income increases, consumption also increases. But savings, when the savings increases, ultimately that reflected in the declining of consumption. Is it clear? Come to the very important concepts under saving function. First one is average propensity to save, APS. We denote with these three letters: A, average; P, propensity to; S, save, average propensity to save. The ratio between total disposable income and total savings. What is the disposable income? Did you find anywhere in LEOs? Anybody? Yes, this is one of the concept of national income. Disposable income means after paying the taxes to the government, that income you can spend. Without paying income, without showing your income levels, you can't spend on anything. If you are hide your source of income and amount of income, that will be considered as black money. So when you are paying tax on your income, that is called as a disposable income. You can spend. You can spend. So the ratio between total disposable income and total savings, that is called as a average propensity to save. Symbolically we can write S by Y, the ratio of savings to the ratio of income. Ratio of savings to the income. Represent the average propensity to save. This is represent the average propensity to save. Means here is APS is equal to S by Y. Average propensity to save is equal to present total savings, present total disposable income. The ratio of total savings to the present total disposable income, denoted by APS is equal to S by Y. For example, to better understand of the concept, if your income is 10,000 and you are saving 2,000, means 8,000 you are spending on consumption, okay, and 10,000 minus 8, remaining 2,000 is your present total saving. So 2,000 is by 10,000 your income into, because we are calculating average on a average propensity to save, 2,000 by 10,000 into 100. How much? 20% of your income you are saving. Do you remember on the last day when you are going to your homes, I gave one exercise. When you have 10,000, how you are spending on what and how much you will save, and when your income increases to 50,000, how much you will be spent and how much you will be saved. Do you remember, girls? Okay, just remember that concept. Different different kind of consumption expenditure you wrote in your book, and savings also in different way. Yes. Next, come to the marginal propensity to save. What is a marginal change? Did you learn any marginal concept? Can you recall? Like a marginal cost, marginal revenue means change in a particular variable. Like that, marginal propensity to save, the ratio of change in savings delta S means change of savings to the change in disposable income delta Y. Equation or formula for this marginal propensity to save is marginal propensity to save MPS is equal to change in savings by change in disposable income. MPS is equal to delta S by delta Y. Symbolically we can write like this. When your income increases to the 50,000, your savings, if we assume income increases to 50,000, then savings increase to 20,000. From 2,000 to 20,000, from 10,000 to 50,000. What is the present? Can you derive MPS from these increased incomes and increased savings levels? Can you? With the help of this equation or formula, just substitute these values, means how much income increased from 10 to 50. 50 minus 10, 40. Delta Y is equal to 40,000. Delta Y. And how much savings, change in savings from 2,000 to 20,000 means 20 present savings minus previous savings minus 2,000. How much you will get? 18,000. Then these values just substitute in this equation. Delta S 18,000. Here just you write or you substitute in this equation by delta Y 40,000. From where this 40,000 you got? Like this, 50,000 present changed income minus past income, previous income 10,000. Then you get that delta Y, change in income 40,000 into 100. Is it clear? Okay, how much? 45%. MPS 45%. When the income was 10, the savings proportion to the income 20. When income increases to 50,000, the saving levels increase from 20% to 45%. So there is a positive relationship between the savings and income. When income increases, savings also increases. You can explain with this schedule. Y is income, C is consumption expenditure, S is savings. When you are not earning, when you are not getting income, then also you should spend on your consumption expenditure 20 rupees. Then savings minus 20. When you are earning 500 rupees, your consumption. When you are earning low incomes, but your consumption is more than your income, so you borrowed some money from others, minus 100. So consumption Y minus C minus 100. And when your income increases to 1,000, your consumption also 1,000. So Y is equal to consumption. Your savings are 0. So break even means here incomes are equal to the consumption expenditure. When your income increases to 1,500, your consumption expenditure was 1,400. How much money remain after meeting of your present consumption? 100 rupees. So you will be save 100 rupees. So this is your saving. When your income is to 2000, your consumption expenditure is 1800. Your savings are increased to 200 from 100. So when your income increased from 1500 to 2000, your savings increased from 100 to 200, and consumption expenditure also increased. So there is a positive relationship between the income and consumption as well as income and saving. Okay, and with the help of this graph we can easily understand, and we can draw a saving curve. We take income on x-axis and on y-axis we are taking savings. When your incomes are 0, your consumption was 20, and you can take 200 like that. Okay, 20. When your income is 500, your expenditure is